So I must convey my heartfelt regards for them. And most important thing is that it is a good opportunity for the researcher, because qualitative research is basically somehow ignored in many places. And this workshop is will definitely give some kind of information regarding this, how to write case studies, how to do qualitative research work or something like that. So once again, thanks to all the participants as well as the organizer. On behalf of my heart, I say definitely this kind of initiative, academic initiative, is regularly required. So I'll start with that thing. Before I start something, I think it is basically a heterogeneous mixture, because people are basically from different domain. Say for example, from law is also there. I mean to say, some are from social science, some are basically from different, I mean, background also, right? So when I will start with this kind of thing, this kind of crowd, I just want to say something, that when we go for this qualitative work, research work, you have the knowledge about qualitative research work, that just for a particular thing I just want to know, for because of that thing, because it will be easier for me, because I will give a lot of information as well as other kind of references too. So because of my knowledge, do you all have the knowledge about qualitative research? Anyone can say anything. Hello. Qualitative research purpose, I just want to just say that whether you are aware of this qualitative research work, different methodologies are basically used, different kind of things are basically used. So for that you have the knowledge. Anyone? Hello.
Yes, sir. A bit of it. I've participated in a focus group once. So,
Okay, okay, thanks a lot. Any other please?
Sir, we don't have much more idea, but tomorrow we have a session related to quality research. So
Okay,
if you'll
okay.
give some hints, then it will be good, for to understand
Okay,
much more
okay. Oh,
better.
definitely, definitely, I will do that. Definitely, I will do that. So, because of that thing, I just want to check what is there, so that it will be easier for me as well as easier for you to understand. So that is the objective of this particular workshop, right? So when we basically start off case study method, just a sec. Uh, is it clear? Something is coming out. Hello, you are able to see all these things?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
yes, sir.
Okay, okay, okay. Can I enlarge the screen?
Yes.
Now it is clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Huh?
Yes, sir. Clear.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
sir. Clear, clear.
So when we basically talk about nothing, I will talk like this way. Just a small slide will be better, because we will interact with each other. That is the most important objective of this workshop, right? So when I am talking about case study is getting a lot of popularity for the last 3-4 decades, particularly in social science. Before that, we can say it is applicable for the medical science, as well as it is applicable for the law background, it is applicable for management, all these things. So when we talk about the case study, we talk about case study is basically a method of learning about a complex instance based on a comprehensive understanding of that instance, obtained through extensive description and analysis of that instance taken as a whole and in its context. That means when you join as a medical student, you have to understand certain things, that a lot of things are there. They are basically working on case studies. Why case studies? Because each and every patient is different. Each and every patient condition is maybe different. So the senior doctors basically provide this case profile. They always search for the case profile. So is basically lawyers. But in case of management students, I am talking about social science domain or background, or say management background, we can say that case study is having a lot of interest right now, because I mean to say, market is basically dynamic in nature. Market is basically dynamic in nature, and in order to respond this kind of thing, business schools are basically using the case study method. Why case study method is important, I am coming now. You all know the few days back there was a Hindenburg report, right? Regarding the Adani's kind of thing. So that type of thing is basically creating a lot of hue and cry into the market, and because of that thing, we have witnessed a different kind of scenario in share market also. So this may be a beautiful case. When we are talking about, I would say, Mukesh Ambani wants to open up, I mean to say, a lot of institutions, I mean to say, related with the business. Then it will also be related with case study. So why case studies are important? Because if you go to any big B schools, mostly we discuss lot of case studies. Why? Because people are basically, if you go to IIMs, you will find that most of the students are having the background of engineering, but next 2 years they are basically having the admixture of knowledge like HR, marketing, finance, operations, and other kind of things, domain knowledge, IT, and it requires a decision making process. So you have to have an analytical skill. More you have an analytical skill, that will be easier for you to implement into the market. So that is a challenge of this case study. Now, when we are talking about case study, please understand one thing: your answer and my answer may differ. Nothing is right, nothing is wrong in case study. Please try to understand this particular word. Nothing is right, nothing is wrong in case study. Your way of analysis may be differ, my way of analysis may be differ. But the most important aspect is case study is having logical kind of thing. That means you have to give logical explanation of that particular thing. This is about the case study, right? So I will go to the next slide. That is important. The next slide is basically what is the essence of case study. The essence of case study, the central tendency among all types of case study is that it tries to illuminate a decision or set of decisions, why they were taken, how they were implemented, and what with what result. So the moment you are in big B schools, you will be able to understand different market scenario, maybe related with IT, maybe related with HR, maybe related with operations, maybe related with materials management, maybe related with production, marketing, all these things. So each and everything is basically given to you. That means you have to work in a group. That means 5, 6, 8 guys are basically working on a particular subject, topic has been given, and you have to prepare that thing and you have to give explanation. Now, by this way, you have developed a kind of thing to analyze the case study. That is most important, and how analytical you are, each and every aspect, so that the moment you will become a, I mean, getting a good responsibility in a big corporate sector, it will be easier for you to take a decision. So you have a kind of relationship with the market. So that is the most important aspect of case study. Now, when we are talking about case study, HBR cases, Harvard Business Review cases, and other kind of big IV or something like that are there. But we are in India basically focusing on case study based on indigenous case studies. Why? Because the market is different, consumer behavior is different, people are different, rules and regulations may differ from country to country. So we are specifically focusing on case study based research because of that thing. And in India, lot of institutions are encouraging faculty members to do these things for the students, and this case study is basically taught into the classes. Clear? Up to this, any problem? Okay. Next, I will go to the next slide. That is a very important thing. That is investigates a contemporary phenomenon. Please understand this particular word. Investigates a contemporary phenomenon within its real life context, especially when the boundaries between phenomenon and context are not clearly evident. So case study, you can think of a contemporary phenomenon. That is a very important thing. And when the boundaries between phenomenon and context are not clearly evident, so you have to take care of a lot of things. Now, case studies focus on understanding the dynamics present within a single setting. This is an important aspect. Then we will talk about This particular slide is very important. It is very important. Once you are clear with this particular slide, it will be easier for you to understand how we proceed with case study. Now, simple question is qualitative research or quantitative research? Case study is qualitative or quantitative? Case study is basically qualitative research or quantitative research. Anyone.
Qualitative.
Qualitative.
Basically.
Okay. So exactly, you are absolutely right that people are basically using qualitative research, and for case studies under qualitative research mainly. But in some cases, there is a trend that people are basically utilizing quantitative techniques also nowadays. So I will not go for that debate whether qualitative or quantitative. I just want to say that some people, India is basically having a lot of journals that is basically trash kind of journals. India is famous for that, and any type of journal will accept this kind of things. I am not talking about this kind of journals and qualities. Please understand that mostly people having a rejection with quantitative technique related papers, and they put it into the case study journal. So that is a main drawback of this kind of situation, I would say. So what is important? I just want to say qualitative research, case study is based on qualitative research. Some people are doing the quantitative research also, but that is excellent. I'm not talking about this kind of thing, but mostly from Indian perspective, people having lot of rejections, and after that they send it to the journal, who are basically predatory journals are there, they will accept this kind of thing. So forget about these things. We are focusing on good kind quality of journal. Being a research, being a researcher, I can say that I have an admixture of 16 plus years of industry as well as 8 years of around in academics. So my objective is basically to write papers for good journals. I have ABDCA publication, Web of Science, as well as Scopus 2. So what is important? Case studies are of two types. One is basically case study with teaching notes. Those who are basically like us, we have to discuss a lot of case studies into the classes so that the students will get an idea. So there may be a theory link with that. There may be a theory link with that. So in that case study with teaching notes are basically very handy, because I will show you, being a reviewer of MRL, being a reviewer of other journals, I have to go through a lot of review process for this kind of thing. I will show why I have rejected this one, why I have accepted this one. This is also I will show you in this particular thing. So case study with teaching notes are there. So in that case studies are basically having a theory link, but case-based research is something different. Is basically a newer insights. This is different from the teaching notes. Here you will not provide the teaching notes. Case-based research, I will come later on. Why people are basically, earlier we are basically focusing on case study with teaching notes. Case study with teaching notes, that means students will be able to do these things. And being a teacher or being a case research writer, I have to mention which kind of students you are looking for. Is basically graduation level, post graduation level, or what else? Then we have to think about what are the probable questions. So, and what are with the time duration? Maybe 90 minutes, maybe 120 minutes time. By that time you have to provide this kind of thing. So it is better to provide the case studies in soft copy or in a hard copy manner, at least 4 or 5 days before this particular date, so that people will come and prepare. People will come with a lot of preparation, and group wise people will discuss about all these things. A lot of noises are coming out. Anyway, so what I am saying right now, the case study with teaching notes, here the teachers or the case researcher basically write a kind of thing targeting to the people, I mean students, where the time duration is given, where the theory is basically given, a particular thing has been given. Now come to case-based research. It is just opposite. It is basically a kind of thing where you have to think about research related issues. How it will differ, I will show you the details later on. I will provide you the journals of Sage as well as Emerald as well as others, so that you will be able to understand all this aspect. Now, case study with teaching notes. Some journals are basically taking a U-turn not to take case study with teaching notes. Why? The reason is basically citation related issue. Case study with teaching notes having very less amount of citations. Why? Because say for an example, when I am talking about blue ocean strategy, or say I am talking about a 50 years back strategy, or say kind of thing, and there may be a 5,000 odd papers are basically available. So nothing new is coming out. So case study with teaching notes having a lesser, I mean very less amount of citation. So because of that thing, people are basically focused on case-based research only, right? Now, case study may be related with the business. Yes, we being a student of marketing or say HR or operations or finance, from the background of management, we can say case study is related with business. But what's about medicine? What's about the physicians? These are people are doing. So people are developing case studies from different subjects also. Now, there are two type of data which is required for these case studies. Maybe one is primary data as well as secondary data. You all know primary data and secondary data. Any problem? Anyone can volunteer? Primary data and secondary data.
The primary data is something that we actually directly, it is kind of a raw material for us. We directly go to the field and we get hold of the data from there. And secondary data is which we, with the research publication of somebody which has been already published or something, that is the data which we get from any other sources. That is not, what I want to say is not like directly going to the field and collecting it.
Fantastic, fantastic. Um, Raka Datta. So what I am saying right now, that primary data and secondary data. Now, primary data is basically our data where we are basically looking for go for the survey and other kind of things, is basically newer kind of thing. And this secondary data is basically the website, journals, literature, newspapers, even that is also for secondary data, right? Now, important thing is that case study. What do you think? Primary data driven or secondary data driven? It should be. If I say you have to choose in between these two, primary data or secondary data, that will be easier for you as well as easier for me, because I just want to give you some kind of information how you proceed further. Nothing to be wrong. You may be wrong also. Nothing goes wrong. Tell me, primary data or secondary data?
Sir, I may be wrong, but I think we have to depend up to a certain extent up to primary data because
Okay, fine.
when I'm studying a case,
Your background is, ma'am? Your background is?
sir, my
Your
background is
background?
political science.
Okay, okay, fine. So for you all, I just want to inform that primary data we are looking for. Secondary data driven case studies are also there. I will show you, but good journals do not accept these things. Why? Because secondary data, you will do all these things, collect all these things, nothing is coming out. It is just like a story. Most people will say case study is basically a storytelling. It's not like that, right? So storytelling is something different. Case study is, yes, you can say it is like a storytelling, but you must be aware of this thing. You must have an experience of that. So primary data we have to focus. If you think of good journals, you have to think about primary data. Now here is a fallacy. The moment you will take primary data from a company, you have to take permission for case study. Am I clear? When you develop a case study, say for an example, I just want to know the XYZ companies position, market position, but situation, or say how this company has started 10 years back with just 10 crore rupees business volume, and right now it is more than 500 crore. So how they came with this way? So this type of thing, when we are basically focusing, where from I will get these things, you have to go and collect the information from the company people, company top boss, management, this kind of thing. So in that case, you have to understand properly that you require primary data, no secondary data. Now primary data, when you are basically getting, that means you have to take interview from the people within the organization. But important thing is that you have to take permission from the organization. It must be written permission. Please understand this particular word, written permission. Without that, you cannot proceed, and the journal will simply reject your paper. Why? Because it may be something. Say for an example, I just want to go for a Tata group of Tata Steel. Just want to go for a case study for Tata Steel. Secondary data I have taken, and I have taken a survey based on that, the secondary data, and something is coming out which is not at all right, or maybe right, but it is not validated by the organization. Company will sue a case against the journal, against myself, right? So primary data is very important for the case studies. Secondary data is also important. Why I'm saying so, I will come later on. But primary
Sir,
data, when you have to, yes, yes.
sir, I have one query. As you are saying the primary data, assume it as
Mhm.
one student is doing GP, one of the private company or maybe any company. So
Mm.
thing is here, internal mentor is always associated with that graduation project also. So thing is, can we able to publish the document or not? If you publish it, the company is saying no, you cannot able to publish it. But as far as academic process is saying about it, you can able to do it. When we are sending the student, so at
Give you
that
one
time,
answer.
there is
Simple. I
okay.
just
Tell
give
me.
you answer. Important thing is that why the case studies are important. Important thing is that when we are talking about management institutions, my objective is to be related with the industry, right? Industry demand and all this kind of thing. Industry is a different kind of thing, academics is a different kind of thing. That's why when we talk write a case study, it is totally different than the academic publications, right? I'll come. So the moment you will see, even today, UGC and higher education authorities are saying that we must focus on bringing project, providing consultancy to the own institutions, different organizations, even the companies. So you have to you require a kind of quality, so that you can go and say something like that. Maybe your domain is HR, maybe your domain is finance, maybe other things, so that company, I mean your institutions, academic institute will get some kind of money. Say for an example, you get an opportunity to go for a consultancy. So out of that, 1 lakh rupees has been given. So 70% money it will be for you, and 30% it will become through for your institutions. Am I right? 70% money you will enjoy, and 30% money will be given to your institution, since you are giving the consultancy from this organization as a faculty, right? So you have an interaction with the industry. You can send your to students. That is the objective. Students to the industry. All are not for academics. Please understand that. So you have to maintain a good relationship. And how can you come to know about what is going on into the market? Because I am busy with teaching the class, teaching in my institutions. On outside, I do not have that much of knowledge. So this is a very important and interesting aspect, that I have to take a kind of art. I have to generate some art and do these kind of things for these organizations. Please understand, bringing project is basically institution building. Giving consultancy is basically institution building. Writing journals in good journals, I'm not talking about predatory journals, reputed journals, published book chapters, all these are institutional building. So please understand a new kind of setup, which is basically important here right now. That is, we have to do some kind of academic activities for the institution building. I'm just going and take the classes. Okay, fine, no issue. But the thing is that apart from that, what is my value addition for the institutions? So this is a very important thing. Sometimes you have to mentoring the students also, so that they will be able for able to meet the interview standard and other kind of things. So this is a kind of thing. So from business perspective, when we are talking about the case studies, I'm talking about business purpose. So you have to take permission from the institutions that the particular institute will be able to provide this kind of thing. Otherwise, data is not at all authenticated, and tomorrow company will sue a case against my institute, against me, as well as against the journal. So we will be in deep trouble. So don't aggravate any kind of problem. The moment you want to write a case study, you can go for a secondary. Initially you can start secondary data related case studies, but when you are thinking of writing a good case study, please think of primary data. That will increase your network, number one. That will give you the confidence, and tomorrow you will get an opportunity to serve the company as a consultant, and your institution will be benefited out of that. Am I right?
Sir, my query is I just wanted a simple thing, assume it as a one student, she is doing a graduation project, which is a one semester graduation project
No,
in
no,
Puma.
no.
Now the
Okay.
question is, they are collecting the data based on our guidance also. They are paying the stipend to the student. Here, what is happening is student is collecting the data in consultation with the mentor. So assume it as I am a mentor. So they are collecting a data. Once they are collecting a data, and then we are guiding them. So then they are providing the best solution, right? Based
Hmm,
on some
hmm,
statistical tool, they have analyzed it and they are suggesting to the industry, and industry is accepting it. Now, once they have completed a project, their project has been successfully implemented. So partial fulfillment of their degree. So they
hmm,
came
hmm.
back here. They came back here. Now, thing is same data. I wanted to publish a paper, right?
You
Company
have
do
to
not
take permission. You have to
from
take permission. Without
but as far,
without without the permission, you cannot do anything.
but as far as
Simple.
our guidance is talking about it, thing is the right onus is lying on an IFT, institute only. So that's why I'm asking you, is it necessary to take a
Sir,
permission?
sir,
Because
sir, sir,
Mm,
sir, I just want to inform you that this is a very good question. But important
mm,
thing is that tomorrow company will not stand behind you,
okay,
because you require a permission from, say, either vice president or HR or maybe other important person will give you the dot. Otherwise, if you go ahead, uh, you will be having a problem, as well as your institution will be having a problem. And the moment you will submit this thing as a case study, I'm talking about case study only,
okay,
the journal will ask, you require the documentation, signature, as well as stamp from the employer. So that
okay.
will create problem. Otherwise, journal will simply reject you.
No, no, that
But if
employee
you
is
think,
giving the certificate.
sir, employee is given, that is for the project purpose. When you think of this publication, this is a separate thing, sir. I will come later
Okay,
on about this kind of queries, sir. But important thing
okay,
is that please understand, when I am writing a case study, we have to think about. I'm just giving you one simple thing. Secondary data, everything is available. Now, based on that, I will go for a survey, and based on that, something is coming out from that. And if the company's image and reputation is basically at stake, it is a perception of the company's top management, they will ask you this kind of things. They will sue a case. So please understand, case study is basically a sensitive thing where you have to provide this kind of thing. Why I am saying so? Please listen. Case studies are basically important for the students. Case studies are basically important for the faculty members. And the third one is very important. Companies like companies CEO, general manager, and all these things are basically avid reader. They will basically go through the case studies. Please understand one thing: when I am writing a research paper, when I am contributing to a book chapter, the way we are writing, this is totally different kind of thing. I am coming, I will show a lot of things. So what is important here in case study, you have to understand that the way of writing is totally different, and the case study starts with the dilemma. So case study starts with a dilemma, means why we are doing this kind of thing, what was the problem, what is basically what is basically coming out. Now please understand, when we are doing academic research, the conclusion is based on these findings. But in case of case study, we have multiple things, and we are basically not saying that what is the solution. What we can say, the road ahead. The moment I will say this is right, this is wrong, this is a kind of problematic situation for us. So when I am talking about that Bisleri having an issue regarding the successors, right? This is a crisis of the crisis is there. So predecessors are not at all able to guide their next generation. The Bisleri Chauhan's, the owner, having only one daughter, and she is reluctant to take care of his to his father's business. So as a result, he has no other option but to sell the property with a broken heart to Tata Group of company. So it may be right, it may be wrong, I do not know. But the thing is that when we do think of that, but it may happen that after taking the Tatas, this Bisleri brand, they may not perform well. So when we cannot comment on this particular way that this is right and this is wrong, no, we have the different kind of observations, we have different findings, and based on that we'll provide this maybe thing, but I cannot comment that this is the right way. That's why I am saying initially that your logic is different, my logic is different, but must be rational. So people may differ because you are basically from, say for an example, a different background, I am basically from different background, but the most important aspect is logical kind of thing. When you basically go into a courtroom, the courtroom drama is that someone is basically say to say go for the justice and support the victim. I am just against that particular person. Now most important thing is the logical explanation, and based on that judges will come to the problem. So this is an important aspect. Your objection, your perception may be differ, my perception may be differ, and at the same time we are different, we have a different kind of analytical power as well as kind of mindset. So based on that, logical arguments is giving on in the case studies. That's why I am saying courtroom drama is something that similar is basically doctors. Some doctors is finding that this may be a case, this use this drug, someone say no, this is not there, and same is goes for business. So this is all about the case studies. I will go to the next kind of thing, very simple thing, that is three case studies. One is descriptive, explanatory, combined. You all have this kind of knowledge, so I will not go to that particular details, because it is basically those who are taking the classes or basically the student or researcher. Now important thing is that case studies can be used to provide description, test theory, generate theory. So these are the important aspects of the case studies. Now this part I have cleared this kind of things, what is important. Now I will go to our next slide, that is important. Just a sec. Is it visible? Is it
Yes.
visible?
No,
Okay,
sir.
fine.
Yes, sir.
It is
Now it
coming.
is
Just
visible.
now it is coming. So this is a small introduction. I mean, just taking almost 30 minutes of time. So this is a backdrop of this case study. Now I will go to qualitative research, right? So now qualitative research involves finding out what people think and how they feel, or at any rate what they say they think and how they say they feel. This is a kind of thing, the kind of information is subjective. So this is the difference between qualitative research as well as quantitative research. It involves impressions rather than numbers, main difference. So this is a basic thing of qualitative research. Now I move to second slide, that qualitative research, you all are right, qualitative research involves the studied use and collection of a variety of empirical materials, case study, personal experience, introspective, life story, interview, observational, historical, interactional, and visual text that describe routine and problematic moments and meanings in the individual lives. So you all are right that qualitative research case study is comes under qualitative research. Now, moving to the next slide, here is the differences. You must be very careful about these things. We all know that qualitative research versus quantitative research. Why I am saying so? Because we have to use some kind of methodologies. Because of that thing, I am just moving fast, right? Tomorrow you have a session on qualitative research, but when I'm writing case study, we have to, I mean, talk about these things, and we have to mention into these things. So qualitative research and quantitative research, lower number of respondents. See, what is important in case of most of the case studies, 9 to 12, I'm sorry, not case studies. I'm talking about qualitative research. Rather, 9 to 12 is sufficient enough. Lot of literatures are saying that 9 to 12 is sufficient enough for the qualitative study. On the other hand, quantitative study, people will say different numbers are important. Say when you are using AMOS, people will say the minimum 200, someone will say 300 plus, like that. I do not go for that. So lower number of respondents are there. When we are talking about qualitative research, please understand, we are taking interview of 9 or 12 respondents, and it must be in-depth interview. That means 45 to 1 hour interview duration will be there. Everything will be recorded through the Android mobile phone or other way you can think of. Everything will be recorded. Even you can take video also. You have to take permission from the particular person. You will take the interview, and basically you have to transcribe all these things, and finally verbatim is coming out. So this is the backdrop of qualitative research. So when we are talking about qualitative research, lower numbers of respondents are there, an open-ended questionnaire. That means the moment I will talk about quantitative techniques, people are asking whether you are traveling to outside India last 2 years. You say yes or no. Without these two are the answers. So that means it is a close-ended questionnaire almost. So when I am asking you, do you have an opportunity to go outside India last 2 years? You will say, no, I do not have the opportunity. But yes, I got an opportunity from this thing. At that time, border was closed due to COVID-19. So you are giving some kind of thing. So it's an open-ended questionnaire. Please always remember, open-ended questionnaire means you are basically probing someone so that he or she will be able to give the answers. So open-ended questionnaire is basically crux of these qualitative case studies also. Now, data collection techniques vary. FGD, that is focus group discussion, key information observations, more suitable when resources and times are limited. Yes, absolutely. That's why we are going focus group interview. So you have a knowledge about focus group interview? You have a knowledge? So focus group interview, the moment I will go for a focus group interview, that is not sufficient enough. Why? Because as per the literature, people are saying that focus group discussion is not giving you a full kind of support. So you have to analyze this focus group interview properly. So you may think of grounded theory, you may think of content analysis, you may think of thematic analysis, like this way. So this is very, very important, and empowering and participatory. That's why I'm saying, whether when I'm asking an open-ended questionnaire, I'm giving the person some probing, giving some clues, and he is or she is basically delivering certain things that is basically coming out from his remarks. So participatory and empowering. Next slide, I'm just going, that is we interprets in qualitative research, and sampling depends on what needs to be learned. Purposive sampling, that is a very important thing. When we are talking about qualitative research, unless until the person is not qualified for that, that means suitable amount of experiences are not there, it is not possible for him or her to take care of this kind of interviews. On the contrary, when we are talking about quantitative techniques, certain things are there. We go for SPSS, we go for AMOS, smart PLS, or FSQCA, other kind of things are there. We just analyze, this kind of result will come. But in case of qualitative research, it requires experienced and seasoned veteran people, so that it will come out in a proper manner. Because certain gestures are also very important. That's why I'm talking about FGD. When I'm talking about FGD, some people are saying something else. His gesture is something else. So you have to capture that thing also during an interview. When I'm when I'm basically there for an interview, people are asking, what is your marks? I said, secondary exam, this is my marks. Then higher secondary, this is this. Graduation this, post graduation this. Now people will say, uh, uh, your marks in graduation level is extremely poor, and post graduation level you got only 55% marks. Suppose a interviewer asks me this kind of thing. So, being a candidate, what will be my gesture? I say, yes, sir, definitely. 55% is basically bare minimum cutoff point for UGC. So, I have that kind of thing. Graduation level, yes. The level of understanding may be different. So, we are basically checking the confidence level of the candidate. So, some is basically stubborn, some may politely say something way, but extremely logical. So this is basically an important aspect. So you have to take care of all these gestures also. Someone basically fumbling. So why we are asking the question in an interview that tell me something about you, to ease the person. The moment we enter into a room which is basically well decorated, AC is going on, say, 4 5 people or 7 8 people are basically sitting opposite to us, and they are asking these things. So we are basically having the, talking about to some fresh candidates. I'm not talking about the seasoned kind of thing. So we will say something and we are tensed. Absolutely, when I am just facing the interview, I am absolutely tensed. And for the first time, if suppose I am just entering that particular room in my life, so I am basically having a lot of things. So to ease the situation, they are asking, sit down please, and tell me something about yourself. So this is an important aspect. And the way you pull the chair to when you are sitting, how your posture, everything is coming out, this is also very very important. Please understand, when we go for focus group discussion or qualitative aspect, a lot of things are there, we have to catch that thing also. So next is my thing is qualitative research, usually much cheaper than quantitative research, because small uh, samples are required. Now important thing is that data saturation level is very very important for qualitative research. Data saturation, suppose here right now 24 guys are there, 24 people are there including me. So out of 24, say for an example, I am taking 8 interviews, and after that from 9th onwards nothing is coming out. So the data is basically new, ideas are not coming out for the from the interview. So it is a wastage of time as well as money, because if the newer kind of concept is not coming up properly, that means I have to drop the idea. Perhaps 9th is my last one, nothing is coming out from that, so I will stop here. So but in case of quantitative technique, people will say minimum 30 samples per variables is required. If you go for logistic regression, you have to take minimum 10 samples per variables. Someone will say minimum 150 samples are required for logistic regression. So like this way, people have a different idea. But in case of quantitative research, qualitative research, these kind of things are not there, and it is basically backed up by the literatures also. No better way than qualitative research to understand in depth the motivations and feelings of the consumers. So feelings is very very important, and qualitative research can improve the efficiency and effectiveness of quantitative research. That's why we are basically talking about mixed methodology. Mixed methodology is basically a newer kind of thing, when we either we go for qualitative at first, then followed by quantitative qualitative simultaneously you can perform, or quantitative backed by qualitative. Mixed methodology is opening a kind of thing. What is the pitfall of qualitative research as well as quantitative research? We can eradicate that issues through mixed methodology. So qualitative research is basically coming out in a bigger way. Now go to the next step, that is deductive theoretical approach. I will not go that way, because tomorrow onwards there will be important things of session for qualitative research. Only thing is that deductive theoretical approach is basically when we basically go for an interview, we take the statement, other things are coming out, we go and check regularly what is basically there. So when we are talking about this thing, we are basically supporting the theory. So here the important thing is that deductive theoretical approaches is coming out. On the contrary, when we are talking about inductive theoretical analysis, a new kind of concept is coming out. Kind of concept is coming out, that is inductive theoretical approach. Please understand, nothing is fully inductive, nothing is fully deductive. That means some sorts of theory must be linked properly with whatever the codes are coming out, whatever the things are coming out. Brown and Clark 2006, 2009, 2012, 2019, 2020, 2021 also cited this way. So what I am saying about the qualitative case research, that inductive and deductive, both the things are important here, because neither you can say qualitative alone, I mean inductive alone, or quantitative alone. So this is a very important and interesting thing. You always have to remember this thing. Now I will go to qualitative data collection techniques, where you have in-depth interview, where you have in-depth interview. Now focus groups, participant observation, ethnographic studies, projective techniques, all these things are there. Then we are talking about types of qualitative research. Please understand why I am saying, some people are saying that you have to understand the storytelling properly in case study. No, sorry, extremely sorry. It's a trash kind of journals which will only accept this kind of thing. What Jyoti Prakash Behera sir is saying, or say Raka Datta is saying, or say other Uttam Maikap is there, then Jahangir Alam is there, Taposhi Biswas is there, all other are there. Now important thing is what they are saying, I have to analyze properly. That is the task of qualitative research, and it must be through thematic analysis, content analysis, grounded theory, whatever it may be. These kind of things are already discussed. Recording part is you all know. Shall I go for that thematic analysis? Hello, Jyoti Prakash sir and others. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So thematic analysis is an important thing. Brown and Clark, these two female is basically responsible for this thematic analysis, and extremely important thing, although it is really tough to develop. I will come later on this thematic analysis. Then we will talk about certain aspects, right? Now, whatever I will discuss is based on thematic analysis, right? Few minutes. Something is coming out.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So this is a thematic analysis. This is for this particular purpose. I have done these things. Say for an example, I have taken the interview of 15 guys. Now, this is this is under case study. Please understand that this is required. Now, different themes may come out. So I have think of one theme is involvement in the process. Then we are talking about sub theme. The training and education is highly important, based on the quotations. Quotation part I am not using here. Why? Because it is from my one of my working progress paper. So that's why I am just omitting this thing. Needs to be addressed. Needs to be addressed. The second aspect is economic aspect. Second aspect is economic aspect. Here we are talking about employment. This is the sub theme. This is the theme is economic aspect. Sub theme is employment. Then upliftment of standard of living. This is the sub theme. Now, then we are coming up another kind of theme that is coming out, that is socio-cultural aspect, where we are talking about cultural exchange. Then lesser antisocial activities. Then emotional attachment and environmental aspect, develop habits of caring development, focus on cleanliness. This is basically a structure of thematic analysis. Thematic analysis is basically we have to perform to maintain this kind of data analysis. So when I am taking the interview of the MD, when I am talking about the senior professionals, similarly the junior level employees or HR, whatever it may be, we have to understand what these people are saying. If I say something this way, people will not accept these things. So some people will think about we retain our talent like this way. So it may be a kind of thing. So please understand, when we are basically this is a quotation, that means what you are saying to me. So based on that, we develop codes. We develop codes. Say for an example, just I'm giving another example for your easy understanding. I think very few people will provide you this kind of, I mean to say, this kind of thing, because it is a paper which is not published right now. You are able to see this thing?
Yes, sir.
See, some people are saying we humanize the trash collector and help the poor farmers with free compost with our waste valorization process, creating value out of waste. I am taking an interview of this thing, right? People of a particular company. This is a case study based research. Please understand that. Here we have taken three case studies of different companies. I do not want to name the company. The second one is we enabled silent voices of engineering graduates of India's tier 2, tier 3 cities who were unemployable by training them in EV technology. Some respondent 9 is saying. Other case people are saying we brought out Indian design talent to limelight on global stage in UX Gorilla. We are helping Alzheimer, Parkinson's inflicted patients with music therapy sitting at home. This is a case study based research which I am doing right that it is basically for a good journal of Elsevier. So that's why I am unable to show you full thing. Important thing is that if you see, this is marked by yellow color, this is theme, this is basically sub theme, and these are basically the statement of different participants. So these kind of thing, what is important that codes are generated from this particular thing, and when codes are generated, then we think about other aspects. We are focusing on comparison. Please understand, when we go for thematic analysis, we are talking about thematic analysis. When we talk about thematic analysis, we are searching for the codes. We first of all we go through the text multiple times. Now based on that, Jahangir Alam, Motaleb Ali, Uttam, Maikap, these are the three researchers. Say, for example, for this particular project, they are basically developing some kind of codes initially. This is the second step. Then they will continuously compare all this kind of thing. And based on that, they have developed some kind of ideas which is basically not overlapping with each other. So they form a preliminary stage of theme. Then finally, when they go more details, they have to change this kind of thing. That means some themes are basically jumbled up. So you have to think of chronological aspects so that sensing is related with something. And some sub themes are coming out, which is emerging out from that, which we have to discuss in a different way. So this is basically the way. And when we remodify these themes and categories properly, then it will be an easier aspect so that it is linked with the theory or something like that. It is the deductive methodology I have shown you. Inductive, it is something different, new theories, or you are supporting the theories in a later way, or say something is going on. This is important. So when we are going for qualitative research, please understand we have to think about thematic analysis. Thematic analysis, certain things are coming out, and these are basically a study which is basically, I'm just showing, please watch it carefully. This is a golden given by Braun and Clark 2000. When you basically go for any kind of research, you have to understand, familiarize with the data, generate scores initially. I have mentioned that Motaleb Ali, then Jahangir, as well as Uttam Malika have joined this kind of thing. They are doing individually, separately, this kind of things. Familiarize with the data. That means you have taken these interviews and you are going through each and every part regularly. Then generate codes initially. So codes will be generated out of that. Then looks for themes. That means we are searching for themes. That there we are talking about sensing. Then review the themes. We have to review the themes, modify and name the themes, and finally submission of the report. That means sensing, when we are talking about sensing, then we can think about stretch and detection maybe comes under sensing, but it may be written in a different way earlier. So this is an important aspect we always have to remember. So this is thematic analysis. Tomorrow, I think, sir, I mean, the person who will basically guide you regarding these aspects in a more better way. So right now we are talking about codes. Codes are of three types mainly. Codes are of three types. What are these? Open code, axial code, and selective code. When we are talking about grounded theory, think of a kind of scenario. Say there is no road in between two hilly region. So you have to think of a road, or a road was there, because of flood it was destroyed. So Bailey Bridge you have to form, and it has been basically done by the BSF and military. Am I right? Please tell me, otherwise I am not at all a good teacher. This proves. Hello, people are listening. Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Carry on, sir.
Hello, sir. Little bit louder, please, sir.
Yeah, yes, sir. We're listening. Carry on.
Okay, fine. So Bailey Bridge is basically formed when there is no such kind of bridges are there. They will basically develop a makeshift bridge so that army can move. Some people, pedestrian can move also. So in that case, there is no theory is there. Grounded theory is that your research will develop a theory formation. So when we are talking about qualitative research, please understand, we do not say this is hypothesis. No, this is proposition. When we talk about theory, we will talk about proposition. Just a sec, I will show you a paper. Just a sec. Is it visible? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir, visible.
Fine, fine, fine. So this is a concept. When we are talking about qualitative research, we give the proposition. In case of quantitative research, we talk about hypothesis. I can say Raka Dotto and Jyoti Prakash Behera are extremely good faculty based on these following observations. Why? It is a qualitative research. When I am going for quantitative research, I say Jyoti Prakash Behera and Raka Datta, they have this year 3 journals in good quality Scopus journal. Number 1, quantify. Number 2, their post graduation marks was more than 65%. Number 3, they have guided research scholar, 2 research scholars who are basically eligible for PhD. So these are all quantifiable. So when we are talking about qualitative research, we propose proposition. In case of testifiable hypothesis, this proposition must be testified by hypothesis. This is a quantitative research. Now I will go to the next slide, that is how can we write proposition. This is a qualitative study, huh? This is just like a case study. I'm just giving it to you. That proposition: hospital acts as stimulator and has significant positive effect on multiple stakeholders engagement. This is a proposition. We cannot comment. That is a this has to be testified. Then you can say it is a hypothesis. So proposition has to be testified. That is the most important aspect. So when we are talking about grounded theory methodology, we have to think about open code. Then we have to think about selective code, sorry, axial code, and finally we have to go for selective code. It is a different kind of thing. Validity is important here in qualitative research. Reliability is also important in qualitative research. Different researchers has given this kind of thing. That's why we are going for data triangulation for the authenticity. What do you mean by data triangulation? It is a content analysis. Content analysis for qualitative purpose, quantitative purpose, both can be possible. But we are talking about content analysis for qualitative purpose. Then now, then you can ask me, how can you say, sir, that this is validated and the data is validated and reliable? Say, think of a triangle. Think of a triangle. And Taposhi Vishwas, these two researchers has developed a particular thing, right? Now, Antara Chakraborty, Taposhi Vishwas has developed certain things. And in that case, Sangharsh Mishra is the third person who is basically invited as an outsider to review that the codes which I have developed, whether it is appropriate or not. So Antara Chakraborty and Taposi বিশ্বাস, the data is validated and this reliability is established because of Sangharsh Mishra, because he has given a kind of thing that inter-rater reliability is more than 80%. Inter-rater reliability. What do you mean by inter-rater reliability? That Antara Chakraborty and Taposi বিশ্বাস develop some codes separately, jointly. And Sangharsh Mishra separately did a particular coding kind of things. No data has been given by Antara Chakraborty and Taposi বিশ্বাস. Please understand, their data remains with her, with them only. संघर्ष मिश्र को वो ट्रांसक्राइब दे दिया है, भाई आप डेवलप कीजिए ना. So he has developed some kind of thing. So if there is a similarity of 80%, that means both the raters are equal, having a kind of thing which is acceptable. At the same time, we use Cohen's kappa. That is for inter-rater reliability. Now you will ask me, why sir, you people are you are talking about this thing? I am talking about this thing as because it is a qualitative research, and case study is basically qualitative research. Moment you think about this kind of things, small things register in your memory, you can write this paper. I will show you the different papers so that it will be a very easy kind of thing, because you people are having this kind. Yes, definitely some kind of experiences as well as help is required. So data triangulation, we triangulate. This way we triangulate this kind of thing, whether this is accepted or not. This point is meeting, just like which the picture which is coming out behind me, this kind of bulb is there, right? So this is a point where all the coders are accepted that 80% cases they are having the agreement. Now 20% cases are there, we can validate also. How? Cohen's kappa. What is Cohen's kappa? Raters are giving this kind of thing. One is Antara Chakraborty and Taposi বিশ্বাস, they are saying this is yes. Sangharsh Mishra will say yes, so it's okay. Antara Chakraborty and Taposi বিশ্বাস says no. Sangharsh Mishra says yes. Antara Chakraborty, Taposi বিশ্বাস says yes. Sangharsh Mishra says no. And finally, Antara Chakraborty and Taposi বিশ্বাস both says no. Same was basically supported by Sangharsh Mishra. So four kind of things are coming out from that particular data. One is yes, yes. One is yes, no. One is no, yes. Another one is no, no. These four things, please understand, this is a very tough kind of subject, qualitative research. Whatever I have done, because of thorough research, as well as you have to go through the books. So four kind of responses are coming out, then we go for a calculation. Cohen's kappa is basically used for inter-rater reliability. I'm not taking off any kind of things. So inter-rater reliability, if the value is 60%, we can say is a substantial support. If it is above 40% but below 60%, we can say moderately affected. More than 80%, we can say excellent. But most of the cases, you cannot go for 80%. Very difficult, because the coding system will come out in such a manner. This is known as content analysis. So I have mentioned thematic analysis. I have mentioned content analysis with data triangulation, which is validated. I am talking about grounded theory. Now tell me one thing. If it is case study storytelling, how can you describe all these things? Not possible. That means proper methodology is required. That is codes. Then we have to think about themes. In between, some inner meanings are coming out, sub themes. These are the important aspects. And please understand, when we are talking about case studies, people buy case studies for the institutions. Corporate house studies, and each and every case studies you have to buy not less than 1,000, 2,000 rupees or even more. So the way we academicians write a paper is basically uh, not for all the people. It is basically very monotonous kind of thing. Or I'm sorry to say this thing. Those who have this inclination, they can only recommend or they can only read. Otherwise, please go and check if I am wrong. But the moment you will have given the case study, it is lot of data is given. At the same time, lot of analysis has been given. A dilemma has been well defined, and finally analysis. And it is written in such a manner that you will think of reading a novel, good kind of business journals, this kind of thing. So that the main attraction is what? To connect the people, industry people. To connect the industry people, they have the problem. If the problem is there, they will purchase these case studies. This is the mantra of HBR, IV, or other things. These are basically generated by the academicians with the help of industry people. So industry, academics, inter alia, whatever we are talking about, is basically the objective of case studies research. Clear? Hello? Up to this, any problem? Please tell me. Up to this, any problem? Please tell me.
No, sir, it is okay.
Okay, fine. Thank you. Now, I will show you something. This is from secondary data, the case study. It is Bislary, right? Now, this is basically a kind of thing that Bislary, November 2022. In the midst of cold, bright winter, the news caught everyone off guard and led to mainstream living. Each senses aghast, a veteran found its pulse breaking. Please understand one thing. It is written by my student. Now, here is a fallacy. Why? He has given, see, when we are thinking of case study, your initial, I mean to say, I have just go through this, we have to change this thing. Why I am saying so? I am coming later on. Your case study must be attracted, must attract other people. That is the most important aspect. So please understand, a particular date has been mentioned. Although these people have written the case study based on the secondary data, and why it requires 180-degree changes is required in that case. Now we are talking about company background. This is required because people do not have the knowledge about Bislary is a company. Then company of background, Tata Consumer Products. Tata is basically purchasing this thing. Then Tata Group, they have a Himalayan natural mineral water. Then their dilemma: my students are unable to develop the dilemma. I have given the task to them to write this thing. Yes, definitely they are MBA students. It's not possible for them to write the dilemma. So we have to think about these things. Please understand, case study, you must have a dilemma. Now, here it is a fallacy. The reasons behind sale of Bisleri. Ramesh Chauhan having a problem with his daughter. She is reluctant to take the control of his father's business. And as a result, he had no other option but to sell the product to Tata Group of Company. And according to Ramesh Chauhan, Tata Group is the best group because they have full support for integrity as well as transparent, as well as lot of kind of things are there. So Tata Group of companies are saying something about this thing, that we want to buy this company. Now, this is MBA student. Please understand, they do not have any knowledge. This is a secondary data driven. If I send to some journal, people will accept. But in my opinion, this is an absolutely trash product. Why? Because they do not have any knowledge about methodology, how to write these kind of things and others. They are right in their own way. Thanks that they have developed this kind of thing, that is also very, very important. So please understand, if I take the survey, just give me 1 minute time. I just take my tea, right? Just give me one minute time. See, Tata Group of Company is interested to purchase Bisleri. But my question is, my students do not have that capabilities. Why? They are young, very young. Whatever they have done, fine. I have checked with plagiarism software. No, it is not written that way. So, being a researcher, I can say that my students have done really well from their level. Now, they can send it to some journal. I was earlier with ICFI group. If I send this thing to ICFI with some kind of minor modification, it will be accepted. That I know. But I do not allow them to do so. Why? Because the objective should be very high. Otherwise, it cannot be there. Why I am saying this thing? Because they want to pursue higher studies. They are a final year student. They want to go for higher studies. And for that, we require some kind of knowledge. That means we have to work together to develop this kind of thing, because they do not have any knowledge. Honestly speaking, if you go with some data, put it into any software, come out. But mostly people do not have any knowledge about qualitative data analysis. So what they have written, I intentionally mention that some cases people are basically accepting this kind of thing. ICFI is there, Amity is there, other institutions are there. But if you think of good qualitative paper related with case study, then you have to think of things. I'm not saying that any institutions is bad. No, no, never. ICFI is very famous, probably the world's largest reservoir of these small case studies. And please understand one thing: today students are extremely different than the past. Why? Because they do not have that much of concentration like the past, because we have the mobile phones after all. So caselettes are coming. People do not have that much of time. Students do not have the much of time like past to go through a 10, 12, 15 pages case study, and then they will come and analyze this way into the classroom. Never. So what is important here? Important thing is that they have their business. If I mean, and big other, I mean, case study, case research centers are there. They are basically developing the cases and they are selling to others. And because of that thing, they are getting good amount of money. ICFA is pioneer in India, but something else because they want to develop, they want to pursue higher career, and because of that thing, I thought qualitative analysis must be there. Otherwise, if you give teaching notes, doing something, fine, accepted. But if you are having the hunger for success, you have to wait for that. So this is a simple thing. Then I will go to another aspect. This is a case study which I just want to show you. This is a case study, and I mean to say there was a competition and it was 7 into the competition all over the world. It was 7. Please understand that. This was written by Shomindranath Sannal and Tamal Chatterjee. Please understand. One thing I just want to share with you. It is a good kind of idea. Tamal Chatterjee is basically the owner of this organization. Tamal Chatterjee is basically the owner of the organization, and Shomindranath Sannal is basically an excellent researcher, veteran. These two names are there as a researcher. So Jyoti Prakash Behera sir, what I am saying, you will get permission if you put a name of your industry person into your project, it will be done, right? So this is for your information, please. So this is a case study that transforming a vocational center to a management institute, a case study of choreograph. This is a case study, and in that case study, what is given, please listen to me. This is a simple thing. Just see the beginning. Just see the beginning. It was a warm and humid evening in Kolkata city, and Mr. Tamal Chatterjee, Tamal, the managing director of the Choreograph Institute of Management Studies. See, people will say protagonist, all of things people will say. I will not go for that detail. Why I am saying so? Just see the dramatic way of beginning. It was a warm and humid evening in Kolkata. Can anyone recall? Is there any similarities with our research papers? Any similarities you are finding with these case studies with the research papers? What we generally write, sir and madam? Please tell me. An avid follower of the motivational training of Guru Shiv Khera was discussing his future plans in his not so large but invariably decorated chamber. He was ambitious and had launched a. That's why I'm saying the CEO, general manager, vice presidents, they are basically the customer of these case studies. Please understand that. So you have to write in a different way, such a manner so that you can connect the business people, business group. This is case study for management research. So now I will go to other slide. What they have given, see, According to Tamal, the primary success of admission to BBA in pharmaceutical marketing, whatever is basically given, the background of the company you must give in case study. Then you just see this thing, that this is the kind of thing which is coming out, and they are giving the presentation what is exactly happening in their institution, the growth curve they have given. Then they have given the training, how they have given the training, where they are giving the training, then the people, I mean participants who are there, then you have seen that syllabus. So you must be authentic, and everything should be given with a proper data. This is the website, this is the number of training students, this is Kolkata choreograph, Asansol Durgapur performance, basis of rejection of students, what is their analysis, promotional strategies and media deployment, new product launch. Then they are basically given this archive, which is basically published in newspaper, the course curriculum they have given. Then these are the important aspects, training related issues, lot of pictures, eligibility session, everything they have given. Please understand that print media advertisement, this was a case study which is written probably in 2007. That's why this is the kind of thing in newspaper, promotional aspects. Then they have given this kind of print media advertising for their management courses and other things. Then how they do this kind of things, MBA process, presentation, new model of business. So business models they have given. So why I am talking about the business, that means you have to think about the revenues, otherwise nothing will be sustainable in nature. Initially it is possible, but after that it is not possible. So we are talking about sustainability. Now this is a kind of thing. Then see, this is a quote, this is the quotation, please understand that. And from that, we when we are writing this paper as qualitative research, we write this way: the training helped me a lot. That means this is the kind of thing, a lot, as it covered all aspects of the field job that a medical representative is required to do, dot dot. However, there was a major question that I was facing, dot dot, I quite. So it is not possible to give all this kind of thing, but these things are important, so that based on that you develop the course. Now 2007, this is a case study. Nowadays it has been changed, because this is basically case study with teaching notes. So this is a kind of thing, see, references are written like this way. So this is a one way of writing case studies, but right now people are not focusing on this type of case studies. They are shifted to a different case studies. Why? I am showing you some important case studies. This is a case study of ET. This is a Times of India Group Global Summit on Management Cases. When a shock becomes a source of inspiration, the entrepreneurial success story of a Bengali village boy. So, see the title. The title is itself very catchy, and that will attract a lot of people. So, that is the objective of this type of case studies. So, when we are basically giving this kind of case study, we think of title is very, very important, because if the title is not appropriate, then lot of problem will happen. Now, this is a important thing. If you want to know something about case study, you will get some information from this journal, right? Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So it is a journal, IIUM Journal of Case Studies in Management. Is basically a journal which is basically from Malaysia, right? So a lot of people are writing in a different way, and this is basically a journal where you can practice, for practice purpose you can write this way. So this is a free kind of thing where you will read the case studies, not that way. I'm not saying that it is an excellent kind of thing, but preliminary knowledge about the case study to some extent you will get from this journal, IIUM Journal of Case Studies in Management. Everything is available. You just only go and download this thing. Please understand what is important when we are writing a case study. Please understand it is a simple case study, huh? So this is the important aspects. They have written in a different way. Each and every journal is different. Case studies, people are basically different. Some accept this kind of format, some accept. See, the case study is about bankruptcy of Jet Airways in India, and it is written by whom? Bangladeshi people. Just see this: Tasfia Majid, Jasmine Uddin Ahmed, and Asma Ahmed, and Farzana Haq Anika. They are all from Bangladesh. This is secondary data driven case study. Please understand that. That's why I'm saying, yes, secondary data driven case studies are there. Initial days we can write this way, and but you cannot expect that it will be a Scopus index or it is be ABTC or something like that. No, it's not like. But I cannot say all such efforts are bad, right? Now just think of that. They are from Bangladesh. They are writing on bankruptcy of Jet Airways. The case study was received on 2020, revised on 2020, right? So introduction they have given, and just see, Indian aviation sector has been gaining growth. The way they have written this thing, you have to understand bankruptcy of airlines industry. Why it happened? The case Jet Airways, they have written like this way. Then marketing mix of the Jet Airways they have given. Then SWOT analysis of Jet Airways, low cost barrier model. They are basically threats they have given. The fall of Jet Airways they have mentioned, and the last initiative to save Jet Airways they have given something. Now this is a case study with teaching notes. What are the questions they have given? What strategies regarding marketing and management emerge about Jet Airways in India? See, this is available, readily available. For that, you just go and check with this kind of thing. You will get the details of free kind of thing. So this is an important aspect. This is case study with teaching notes, right? So I will go to another slide. I'll go to another slide. Just a sec. This is a beautiful journal. South Asian Journal of Business and Management Cases. Please understand this is right now in Scopus as well as ABS. Probably it is under ABDCC also. So important aspect is you do not have to pay anything. Most of the journals in India are predatory in nature. Now, Walmart's acquisition of Flipkart, emerging paradigm of the digital era. This is a beautiful journal. Just see the different prologue, then Flipkart, see the language, Genesis, early days, bandwagon of valuation, breaking out of limitations. This is the prominent acquisition of Flipkart Group, history of Flipkart, market leader in India, financial performance of Flipkart, e-commerce market in India, global market scenario, business model, ownership structure of Flipkart. Everything is been given. Why what attracted Walmart to Flipkart? They have given background of Walmart, process of acquisition, Flipkart and vision of digital India, ownership versus control, companies founded by Indian founders, epilogue, declaration of conflicting interest, funding notes, whatever is given. This is case based research. Earlier I was showing case study with teaching notes. I mentioned earlier that case study with teaching notes have a very less amount of citation, and because of that thing the journals are right now not interested to accept. Few are there, like ICFA is there, Amity, other groups are there. They are doing huge number of case study, caselets, 2 pages caselet, 4, 5, 6 pages journals. There is a beautiful journal of Lahore Business School, fantastic journal. IV is a world famous journal, HBR. But HBR and IV is not at all either Scopus or ABDC accepted. Emerging market of Emerald is basically uh, ABDC, I mean to say Scopus index. This journal is also Scopus index. Please understand, this is a journal by Sage. You do not have to pay anything. It is an authentic journal. But important thing is that you have to write in a proper way. So this is very, very important. Now, I will go to other aspect, that is this is a case study with teaching notes, but this is Emerald. Line got disconnected. Hello, hello. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Just a sec. I don't know what happened. Just a sec. This is a case study, MRL, emerging markets case studies, right? Now, this is an important aspect. This is a case study with teaching notes, but please understand MRL is a fantastic kind of thing. It is AVDC as well as Scopus. Now, this is a case study, right? They have written a kind of thing that what they have done beautifully. Lot of things are given, but I have rejected this paper. I have rejected this paper. Now, teaching notes are there, teaching objectives, all these things are there. But still I have rejected this one. Still I have rejected this one. My question is, why I have done this rejection? Because this is not appropriate at all. This is not appropriate at all. Why? Because the way they have basically taken this kind of thing, they have given taken one interview and saying something. There is no methodology that has been followed. How you can take interview of one single person and based on that you have written a case study? How it is possible? There is no such workers are there into this organization. Number one. Number two thing is that how can you validate the data? Forget about validation. You are taking an interview of one. Same kind of thing happened with me few days back when a particular person from a different big journal who is basically sending a thing that they are coming with a educational app, right? Company having the app for the education purpose. Now a single sales guys gave a phone call to the parents and they were so moved that within a span of I mean to say few minutes they were became the customer. That was the case study. Fantastic case study. They were written in a beautiful way, but that was rejected. Why? Because it is not so easy to convert the customer within a span of time, and it is basically costing around 2 lakhs rupees plus. So methodology as well as step, these are the very important aspects for writing a case study. Case study writing is difficult, no doubt of it, because you have to read a lot of things. You have to maintain a language which the business people can understand. And please understand, when Tom, Dick, Harry, those who are basically our students, they will understand fully in their own language and they can correlate with the theory. When I am talking about a particular theory, say dynamic capabilities, when I am talking about bottom of the pyramid theories or something like that, international business theories, they can correlate with the theory. That is the objective of the case studies. So those who are basically big CEOs, big company CEO, vice president, general manager, top manager, this kind of people are also buying this thing. Why? Because they also learn what is going on into the market, what is the basically how they have done these things, turnaround is done by which manner. When I am talking about a spat between Cyrus Mistry as well as Tata Group of company, and what happened ultimately? Cyrus Mistry was thrown away from Tata Group of company. Unfortunately, he died a few months back. So there was a kind of problem. And please understand, Nasim Wadia was there. Nasim Wadia is basically the owner of Bombay Dyeing. Nasim Wadia is the owner of Britannia Biscuit. And he was the independent director. Please understand, Nes Wadia's father is Nasim Wadia. Nasim Wadia was basically Tata Trust. He was basically independent director. Now, Cyrus Mistry versus Tata Group of company, and as a result, I mean to say, it went for court cases also. So, what is important here? You have to understand that there is a problem related with chorus and other kind of things. Why Ratan Tata ultimately has to come? Same went for Narayan Murthy of Infosys. So earlier the CEO Vishal Sikka was there, and others are also there. And ultimately, there was a problem with the company's mission and vision. Please understand, Infosys from the first day, that means since inception, there is no debt. It is absolutely debt-free company till today. There was a lot of things are there. Incentives are basically given so much for the upper management. Ultimately, there was a spat that was going on, and because of that thing, um, Narayan Murthy came into the board once again, and again he left this thing. So what is important? There is a task which is going on. You may think about the governance related kind of thing, corporate governance related kind of things. You can write case study on based on the whistleblower also. So what is important in case studies? You have to think about the dilemma and what are the possible solution. You cannot give this way. Narayan Murthy came into the board and basically control all these things and in left away. And then finally the Infosys is going away. Fantastic. Then same goes for Ratan Tata. He came into the board. Ultimately Chandrasekharan is there into this. So these kind of things. When I am talking about this thing, that we cannot say that it may be a fantastic journey. No, you cannot comment on that way. Say we are talking about semiconductor related issues right now. Last 2.5 years, government is talking about semiconductor manufacturing, which is required almost 20,000 crore investment, and Tata Group came because of they were the sufferer during COVID 2019. Why? Because border was closed and Taiwan is the #1 market, followed by China and South Korea. Except Elon Musk, all the automobile companies were the sufferer because of this semiconductor issue. And as a result, what happened? There was a problem for automobile industry, problem for laptop, computer, all these companies. India government tried this thing in 2006-7, but failure. Ultimately, they have declared a lot of incentives and other things. Different companies are coming out. Let's see what will happen, because India government is giving incentives to encourage the people to invest this kind of thing, and the dependency on Taiwan as well as China as well as South Korea will be reduced further. Let's see what will happen. So we cannot say that it will be a fantastic journey, this kind of thing. No, this is a storytelling. What you have to do, you have to analyze this thing, and then you can set it to others. And if it is a case-based teaching, then you have to think about teaching notes. If it is not case-based teaching, that means it is basically a research-oriented case studies where new things are coming out. Then you have to take permission from Tata Group, which is humongous task. I do not know how many people will be able to do these things. In my opinion, it is not possible for me. So we have to depend upon secondary case studies for my students. Yes, for classes it is okay, but the moment I will go and publish this thing, problematic. So better not to do that. So I have mentioned case-based research, case research. If you want to develop case study based on primary data as well as secondary data, what is the plus point, minus points? I have given different journals related inputs like Sage, Emerald, other kind of things. But important thing is that it is a difficult job. Qualitative research is a difficult job, and case-based research generally we follow grounded theory, content analysis, thematic analysis, all these things. So that codes are developed, codes are written properly, analyzed properly, themes are coming out, sub things are coming out. Then we have to think about inter-data reliability or say data validation, all these kind of things. So it is not a story, but when you are basically try to publish a case study, always take permission from the company to avoid any kind of litigations. So this is related with a case study. If you have any kind of thing, please tell me.